Omar, the Chiefs tweeted this out yesterday. I want to show you this. It's a map to run it back. I would love to know, looking at this, you know, I think some people think it was easy to get back here. They have Mahomes, they've got Kelsey up there, they've got Tyreek Hill, then they added Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Piece of cake. What were the challenges for this team to get back here in the position to win back-to-back Super Bowls?
Well, it's interesting you say that, Kay, because no team has won back-to-back Super Bowls since Tom Brady's Patriots beat Andy Reid's Eagles to end the 2004 season. So 16 years later, the Chiefs feel like they're ready. Patrick Mahomes saying instead of basking in all of their glory from last year's win, they went right back to work, having that mentality to prepare for every situation they might see this season. And it paid off with their 16-2 record heading into the Super Bowl. In light of that, I asked Mahomes what has been the most difficult challenge of trying to, as they say here in Kansas City, run it back.
Yeah, I think it was just keeping everybody focused every single week, every single day, and trying to improve. It speaks to the leaders that we have in this locker room, that we were able to kind of grind through and find ways to win games. But you can definitely feel the intensity pick up as the playoffs started, and I think guys are ready to be in this game at this moment.
Tom Brady was also asked what makes it so difficult trying to win back-to-back Super Bowls. Of course, he did it earlier in his career, and then he lost an attempt to do it against the Eagles a couple years ago, trying to repeat. And he said it's so difficult to win one Super Bowl, trying to get to the top of that mountain, let alone 2 in 2 years, okay, let alone 6 in a career. Let's send it back to you now.
And then he was talking something about how he might not be done at 45 and he could play even longer. Wild comments and lines. And of course, there was craziness and fun last night. But we thank you, Omar. Yeah, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. Yeah. I had the chance to talk to both quarterbacks together. It's rare. It happens once a year for a couple of minutes, usually together, this time on Zoom. This could be the best quarterback matchup in NFL history. An honor to sit down with these two. Take a look. What is the first memory you have of TB12 throwing the ball?
I think the first one I remember is when he's grabbing the trophy and he's throwing it up and he's screaming, he's yelling, just the excitement. I mean, it's been forever. And like we were talking about a little bit before, I mean, it seems like every single year he's just getting better. And it truly is amazing to watch. And it's amazing to go up against because, you know, you're going up against the best.
Tom, let's pretend you can steal one of Patrick's powers, a physical skill or a quality, and add it to your game. What would you take?
Oh, there'd be a lot of them. Are you kidding me? I love how he drifts back in the pocket, takes it about 6 yards deep, and then draws back to about 19, 20 yards, probably 15 yards, right foot in the ground, and then flicks that ball, you know, 60 yards down the field and on a dime to Tyreek or something like that. So, you know, he's got all the physical tools and he's got all the mental tools. So he's going to be in this game quite a few more times, in my opinion.
Okay, let me first say it was so amazing to hang out with him. Tom sat down first, a little backstory, and then he was like, "Oh, I just talked to Nate Burleson," and I was like, "That's tremendous." And then all of a sudden, Pat comes in, and the two of them start talking. I have our intrepid producer Alex Maloney, Chris Wirtz in my ear, like, start the interview, but it was like I wasn't there. They were talking about Brittany being pregnant. How far along is she? How are you feeling? And there was such mutual respect for each other. Before I could even ask my very first question, they talked about dads, the special meaning of their dads in their lives. Of course, they've got special relationships with their pops. So it was so cool. And it wasn't fake. It wasn't like, oh, I don't want to give bulletin board to this opposing quarterback and hear about it all week. It was true and genuine from both sides the entire time. So happy about that, and very, very grateful to have that. It's a matchup between two generations, of course, too. Brady at 43, his main rival right now is 25 years old. So which quarterback do you guys think? And Nate, I'll start with you. I know you spoke to Tom Brady also yesterday. If you were to have to pick a rival for Mahomes for this next generation, who would it be?
Yeah, shout out to Tom Brady, absolute professional. For me, it'd be Lamar Jackson. And I know you're sitting back saying, Nate, well, why are you picking Lamar Jackson out of all the quarterbacks in the league? Well, since week 11, 2018, he has the most wins, 30 wins. Just below him, 29, Russell Wilson. Just below that, 28, Patrick Mahomes. And you're saying, well, Nate, that's a random date. Week 11, 2018, why is that significant? Well, that was the moment he got his start. So I can't put it any other way. The moment that they allowed Lamar Jackson to be the starter for the Baltimore Ravens, he has proven to be at least a winner in this league. And not to mention he's in the AFC. Now, rival, it's all perspective, right? What is a rival? Somebody that gives you close competition, somebody that's always in the MVP race. Is it somebody that beats you? Well, there isn't too many quarterbacks that beat Patrick Mahomes. But if I had to pick one, somebody that's close, that rivals him with victories, even more so than Patrick Mahomes, it's Lamar Jackson. And I feel like Lamar Jackson is just scratching the surface. With everything he dealt with this year, with everything his team dealt with, the Baltimore Ravens, I still feel like Lamar Jackson at the end of the season really started to figure it out, and it got scary.
Great full screen, great regular season career, but he's never beaten Mahomes, and he's won one playoff game and hasn't gotten to the AFC Championship game yet, whereas Mahomes is in this different level. I find it hard to answer this question for Mahomes right now because we've tried to drum up rivalries. We started it with Derek Carr a couple years ago. They're going to be in the AFC West. That has been put to bed. We thought Justin Herbert might be a worthy competitor. It's too soon. They haven't squared off. They only squared off once, and Mahomes came back and beat him. And then even week one of this season, we tried doing the Watson thing, and it was almost felt hollow knowing that it was going to be very unlikely that Deshaun Watson and the Texans were going to beat the Chiefs this year. They finished 4-12. So I look at the top 5 lists from the NFL Network, and I try to look at this thing every year, the top 100, and how we as a media tried to predict some things. And, Lamar was the MVP last year, not in the same breath as Mahomes. Russell Wilson, perennial pro, great. Lost to Jared Goff, 9-finger Jared Goff at home in a playoff game this year. Aaron Donald, gone. Michael Thomas, irrelevant when the season, at the end of the season, it turns out he was seriously injured this year and played through a ton of pain, but he's not in the same conversation. I look at Mahomes, I look at him trying to find a rival, and honestly, Rodgers didn't make it to the big stage. They do insurance commercials. 1, 2, 3, 4, that is him not counting his touchdowns. He was questioning, how are you going to put me 4th on NFL Network's 100 list? How are you going to put me 4th? That is exactly what he was referring to. And truthfully, I don't have an answer. Kyle, you might have a better one. I would love to hear you talk because you got to spin some sort of story here for me to convince me that there's somebody in the league in the same conversation as this guy right now.
We want it so badly, though, don't we, Peter? We want it. We need it. And I'll do it. I'll take the bait. I'll do the Watson thing, as Peter says. I'm going to take Deshaun Watson in this case because there's an unknown. We don't know where Deshaun Watson is headed. We have no clue. And if he goes, let's just say hypothetically, let's say Deshaun Watson lands in Miami. We might have something. Certainly, if things get crazy and the Raiders or the Broncos say we want to bring him into Mahomes' backyard, we got something. Because, Peter, yes, he lost to him at the beginning of this season. He lost to him after he got rid of his best wide receiver, and where obviously Deshaun Watson was not feeling great about the organization. Deshaun Watson was good enough to be up 24-0 on Patrick Mahomes before all hell broke loose. I think that means something. But I would double back to this. Nate posed the question, what does a rivalry even mean? Rivalry in the definition, it actually says equal or comparable to, meaning someone's going to play Mahomes, and they're going to win roughly half the time. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson have a rivalry. They've played 8 times, 1-1-4, 1-1-4. I think the closest thing that we have and that we might have moving forward to a real rivalry with Patrick Mahomes is the guy who plays him this weekend. It's Tom Brady. If Tom Brady plays a couple more years, which we all think he's going to, they might play 2 or 3 more times. Patrick Mahomes has only lost 9 football games in his entire career. 2 of them were to Tom Brady, including a playoff game. As crazy as it is to compare him to a 43-year-old guy, we can do the exercise where we pick a young quarterback. Lamar, sure. Deshaun, Josh Allen, great. Maybe they'll blossom up and beat Mahomes half the time they play him. I doubt it. I think the only guy who can say, I'm actually a rival with Pat now, is the guy who's playing this weekend, the TB12 guy. I think that's the closest we're going to get. Otherwise, there's no rival. There's no 50-50 deal with Mahomes. He's too good.
And I love it. At 44 next season, you would go Tom Brady and not Josh Allen with that Bucs team or that Bills team that you were so high on. Everyone was so high on that looked unstoppable all regular season. That is wild and a testament to Tom Brady and what he's done out there this year. Let's bring in